There are moments when words become more than just sounds. They become sensations. They linger not in the mind, but in the body. They replay in the quiet of her morning coffee, in the middle of her busy afternoon, in the space between thoughts. Most men believe that attraction is built on grand gestures, on compliments rehearsed or lines memorized. But what truly stays with a woman is not the words themselves, it's what those words awaken in her. The emotional impact of language is one of the most underestimated forces in human connection. Words, when spoken with intention and presence, can travel far beyond the ear. They reach into the emotional memory, shaping how someone feels about you long after the conversation ends. Most people think attraction is a visual experience, but in truth, it's deeply auditory and emotional. The right words can create warmth, safety, curiosity, and even desire because they speak to the subconscious part of the mind that craves understanding and validation. When a woman hears words that make her feel seen, appreciated, and emotionally understood, her brain releases oxytocin, the chemical of bonding, and that feeling links to the person who evoked it. This is why some phrases replay in her mind like a melody. They don't just carry meaning, they carry emotional charge. Every word has texture. It's not just what is said, but how it is said, the pauses, the tone, the rhythm. Emotional language bypasses logic and taps directly into the sensory and emotional centers of the brain. When someone says, "You make me feel calm," or "I love how you think," it's not about the literal meaning but the emotional energy underneath it. It tells the listener, "I experience something special because of you." That emotional framing creates connection because it personalizes the exchange. It shifts the dynamic from generic communication to intimate resonance. However, words only hold this kind of impact when they are anchored in authenticity. If the emotion behind them is forced or manipulative, the subconscious picks up on it immediately. Emotional intelligence is what gives language its power, being able to sense the right emotional tone in the moment and reflect it through words. When a man speaks with genuine emotion, his words carry weight because they feel congruent with his energy. This congruence is magnetic, it creates trust and intrigue without effort. The emotional impact of language is also about timing. When words are given space, when they are spoken with awareness, they invite presence. Silence between sentences amplifies their meaning. A slow, calm tone carries more emotional resonance than rushed speech. Women are particularly attuned to emotional subtleties. They don't just listen to words, they listen to intention, vibration, and emotional clarity. So when certain words are delivered with sincerity, warmth, and focus, they create a moment that feels both emotionally safe and deeply stimulating. This combination, safety and stimulation, is the foundation of emotional attraction. It's not about saying the most impressive thing, it's about saying something that awakens a feeling. And that feeling, when genuine, becomes the echo that stays with her all day, long after the words have faded from sound into memory. The psychology of connection is the invisible thread that weaves people together long before words are even spoken. Connection is not built on appearances, status, or rehearsed lines, it is built on subtle cues, emotional signals, and the ability to resonate on a deeper level. At its core, human beings are wired to respond to emotional authenticity. When someone communicates in a way that reflects genuine curiosity, attentiveness, and understanding, it triggers a sense of being truly seen, which is profoundly magnetic. This is why some conversations feel electric and memorable, while others fade into forgetfulness. It is not the quantity of words that matters, but the quality of emotional presence behind them. In the realm of attraction, connection operates on both conscious and subconscious levels. Even before she consciously registers what you're saying, her brain is reading micro-expressions, tone of voice, pacing, and body language. These signals communicate intention, interest, and emotional availability. When these cues align with your words, it creates coherence, which the mind interprets as trustworthiness and emotional stability. Women, in particular, are highly attuned to these signals because evolution has wired them to detect emotional consistency and sincerity. A man who can align what he says with how he feels creates a sense of safety and fascination simultaneously. This combination of safety and intrigue is what makes her think about him long after an interaction has ended. Emotional connection also relies heavily on resonance rather than logic. It is not about convincing someone intellectually, It is about stimulating an emotional response that feels personal and unique. When you say something that resonates deeply with her experiences, desires, or unspoken feelings, it creates an echo in her mind. She starts replaying it, feeling it, analyzing why it moved her, and in the process, she attaches those feelings to you. This is the subtle psychology of influence. It is not manipulation, but attunement. Another element of connection is the ability to mirror and reflect emotion without losing individuality. By subtly echoing her energy, tone, and rhythm, you create a sense of synchronicity. People are naturally drawn to those who feel in tune with them because it signals empathy and understanding. But it must be done with authenticity. Mimicking without genuine engagement is detected immediately and breaks trust. The deeper the emotional attunement, the stronger the connection, and the more likely she is to carry thoughts of you throughout her day. Ultimately, connection is the bridge between attraction and emotional intimacy. Words are powerful, but they are amplified exponentially when delivered with awareness of emotional resonance. A man who understands this psychology doesn't need to overthink or overperform. He simply communicates from a space of presence, attentiveness, and authentic interest, allowing her subconscious to form a lasting impression that keeps her thinking about him long after the moment has passed. The difference between words that impress and words that influence emotionally lies in their ability to evoke feeling rather than admiration. Many men believe that clever phrases, witty jokes, or smooth compliments are enough to capture attention, but these often appeal only to the surface mind. They impress intellectually, creating a temporary sparkle of amusement or acknowledgement, but they rarely leave a lingering emotional impact. Words that influence emotionally, on the other hand, bypass judgment and reasoning, speaking directly to the subconscious, stirring feelings that persist long after they are spoken. These words create resonance. They awaken something within her that is familiar, desirable, or comforting, and in doing so, they form a connection that is remembered and replayed internally. Influential words operate on layers. First, they carry truth. They communicate an authenticity that is palpable, because emotion detects dissonance faster than thought can rationalize it. If a man's words are congruent with his energy and intention, they are felt as genuine. For instance, a simple acknowledgement of her uniqueness, expressed sincerely, can feel more magnetic than the most elaborate compliment. The emotional imprint comes not from complexity but from honesty, clarity, and specificity. This is why generalized flattery rarely works. It's understood, processed, and discarded. But words that articulate observation, appreciation, or understanding in a heartfelt way create memory. Second, timing and context shape their potency. A phrase spoken at a random moment, when it resonates with her current emotional state, becomes unforgettable. Humans are wired to attach significance to emotionally charged moments, and language can heighten those moments when delivered thoughtfully. Influence emerges from subtlety, not force. It is the quiet statement, the pause before the word lands, the tone that conveys intention without arrogance. These elements amplify the emotional effect of the words, making them feel personal, impactful, and inescapable. Third, emotional influence is reinforced through repetition and association. When a woman repeatedly experiences emotional clarity, validation, or fascination through your words, she begins to associate those feelings with you. This is why small, consistent phrases, authentic observations, meaningful acknowledgements, or subtle expressions of admiration often have greater power than grand declarations. They are woven into her daily consciousness, becoming touchpoints of curiosity, reflection, and attraction. Ultimately, the distinction between impressing and influencing emotionally is the difference between engaging the mind and awakening the heart. Words that impress may earn attention, but words that influence leave a trace, creating a psychological and emotional footprint. They are the ones that echo in memory, resurface in quiet moments, and subtly shape her perception of you, long after the conversation has ended. The importance of authenticity when expressing attraction cannot be overstated, because attraction is not built on performance or pretense, it is built on truth, presence, and alignment between what is felt and what is expressed. Many men believe that to capture a woman's attention, they must adopt a persona, craft clever lines, or behave in a way they think will impress. While these strategies might work temporarily, They rarely create lasting emotional impact because the subconscious detects incongruence instantly. Women are highly sensitive to authenticity. They are wired to sense when someone is being genuine versus when they are performing, and this sensitivity informs how safe, intrigued, or connected they feel. Authenticity is magnetic because it signals self-confidence, emotional stability, and integrity, all of which are traits that naturally draw attention and fascination. Authenticity begins with self-awareness. Before expressing attraction, a man must understand his own feelings and intentions. Speaking words that reflect true admiration, curiosity, or appreciation carries a vibrational energy that resonates with the listener. When the internal emotional state matches the external expression, the words become more than communication, they become an emotional experience. She doesn't just hear them, she feels them. This alignment creates subtle trust and emotional safety, which allows the attraction to grow naturally. In contrast, words delivered without genuine emotion, even if clever or flattering, are often perceived as hollow and fail to create the same lingering effect. Another aspect of authenticity is vulnerability. Showing a willingness to be emotionally open, even in small ways, signals confidence and honesty. It demonstrates that you are comfortable with your own feelings and willing to share them without manipulation or expectation. This does not mean oversharing personal issues or attempting to elicit sympathy. It means expressing admiration, appreciation, or curiosity in a way that is rooted in your genuine experience of her presence. Vulnerability combined with authenticity creates an emotional depth that is compelling and memorable. Tone and delivery are critical components of authentic communication. Words can carry entirely different weight depending on how they are spoken. Calm, steady, and intentional speech communicates certainty and sincerity, whereas rushed, overenthusiastic, or exaggerated tones often betray insecurity or pretense. Authenticity is as much about how you say something as what you say. The subtleties of timing, inflection, and body language amplify the emotional resonance of your words, making them feel natural and deeply affecting. Finally, authenticity is inherently attractive because it communicates a sense of integrity. When a man speaks from truth rather than strategy, he signals that he is secure in himself and his intentions. This security allows a woman to relax, trust, and engage emotionally, which in turn makes her more receptive to connection. Authenticity bypasses games, tricks, or manipulation, creating a magnetic energy that feels effortless and real. It is this quality, more than any rehearsed line or performance, that keeps her thinking about you, reflecting on your words, and drawn to your presence. The power of timing, tone, and presence when saying the right words is often overlooked, yet it is what transforms ordinary statements into unforgettable experiences. Words alone are insufficient, they must be delivered with awareness and intention. Timing is not merely about choosing the right moment, but about understanding the rhythm of interaction and the emotional state of the person you are speaking to. A word spoken too soon or too late can lose its potency, while the same word delivered at the perfect moment resonates deeply and lingers in memory. This is because humans process emotional significance in context, not isolation. When words align with the emotional flow of the interaction, they amplify the impression and create a subtle but powerful connection. Tone carries far more meaning than the literal content of the words. It communicates confidence, interest, and authenticity, often more effectively than the words themselves. A calm, steady tone conveys certainty and presence, while a rushed or uncertain tone can undermine even the most thoughtfully chosen words. Tone also conveys nuance. Warmth, humor, admiration, or curiosity are all encoded in how words are spoken. Subtle variations in pitch, pacing, and emphasis can transform simple statements into emotionally charged messages that feel personal and impactful. The brain responds not just to the words but to their delivery, and when the tone is congruent with genuine feeling, it creates an emotional resonance that stays with the listener long after the conversation ends. Presence is the invisible yet essential component that amplifies timing and tone. Presence is more than just being physically in the room, it is the state of being fully engaged, attentive, and aware. When a man speaks with presence, he creates a magnetic energy that draws attention effortlessly. Presence allows him to sense shifts in mood, recognize subtle cues, and respond in ways that feel spontaneous yet meaningful. It ensures that words are not mechanical or rehearsed but emerge naturally from the moment. Presence also communicates emotional stability and confidence, which are inherently attractive qualities. When combined with well-chosen words, perfect timing, and a tone that matches intention, presence transforms communication into a deeply memorable experience. The interplay of timing, tone, and presence is subtle but transformative. It is what differentiates someone who speaks merely to be heard from someone who speaks to be felt. A single phrase delivered with mastery of these three elements can linger in her mind, replaying in quiet moments, evoking thought, curiosity, and emotional reflection. This combination creates a connection that feels effortless yet profound, shaping her perception and leaving an impression that goes far beyond the literal meaning of the words. It is not the cleverness of what is said, but the alignment of when it is said, how it is said, and the energy with which it is delivered that creates lasting emotional impact.